Today for you on remodel to retire. We see a lot of projects that are sort of based around that concept. People are thinking about eventual retirement, or they're in retirement and wanting to modify their home to sort of fit their changing needs. As we go through life, our needs change in our homes, and so this seems to be a topic that we hear about a lot and get questions asked about a lot, so we have chosen that to use for our presentation today. With that, we will go ahead and get started. To start with, just introduced some of my management team. Of course, myself, David Foster, and then we have Chris Arnold, who's our VP of Business Development. And Dave Marlowe is not with us today, but he's our production manager. He runs all the production side of the company, the actual building and all of our field staff. Then we get into our group of very talented designers that we have, starting with Sharon. We have Diane. We have Kelly is out today. She had lost her voice, so Julie is going to be filling in for her part in that today, as well as her part. But Kelly's another one of our designers. Kara. And we have Julia in the back of the room there.
Yeah, I need to get where I'm supposed to be.
And now that you have the dual part. Also behind them is our design and drafting team, estimating team. They're the ones that put together a lot of the actual construction and working drawings that are submitted for permits. They're the ones that come out and do site visits, look for potential issues, problems in the design development stage. And then we have Bill, who's our estimator, who does a lot of the actual putting together of the costs and pricing of projects. So that's a group of people that would work on a project that we, on a design build type project that we would do. Just a little bit about our service area. We certainly work in Fairfax County, obviously, since we're located here, Prince William County, and about half of Loudoun County. Of course, Arlington, Alexandria are all areas that we work in also. You can see some of the different cities and so forth that we work in. We tend to not go too much west of 15. We don't really go into Fauquier County. Occasionally if we have a client that is a past client that's moved to one of those areas and wants us to go there to do a project, we will occasionally make exceptions, but generally we do stay in the Northern Virginia area. We aren't really licensed in Maryland or DC, so we don't work across the river, so we're kind of really focused on the Northern Virginia area. Today, what we hope to do for you is talk a little bit about planning for the future. Again, taking your home and sort of looking at it and planning in for the future, and some of the things that come into consideration for that. Talk a little bit about caregiver living spaces. Sometimes people are choosing to set their home up to be able to have a caregiver should they need it, or a member of their family need it. We're going to talk a little bit about accessory dwelling units or otherwise known as ADUs. We'll have a little intermission for everybody to get a chance to get something to refresh their drinks and use the restrooms and so forth. And then we're going to go on to sort of home solutions for aging in place. Then we're going to talk a little bit about sort of our overall process, and then if you're interested in a project, and how we would begin that process, how it starts out. With that said, we're going to let Sharon take the next section, who's going to talk about planning for the future, cover that topic for you, and then we will move on to others.
Welcome. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Being old is not a bad thing. It's a blessing. And planning a house that is safe and accommodates a multitude of things that happen to us as we go through the process of aging is only smart. It doesn't matter if you need a full-time medical staff. You can do some things to be smart about setting yourself up not to fail. So things you might want to think about. You want to make sure that your home is comfortable and accessible. I know for myself, we have just 2 steps up into our house, but there's no railing. And when my parents come over, they're sort of holding on to the wall. It's those small things that you don't think about until, one day I need something. And it's kind of nice to think about those things ahead of time so you're not reacting, you're planning. You want to maintain your autonomy. No one really wants to be at the mercy of somebody else's schedule, at least most of us don't. If you do install things early, I am a firm believer that grab bars should be mandatory for life. Children need them. I'm clumsy, I've slipped in the bathtub. It is not necessarily an aging related thing. And so there's this stigma that we have about it's gonna look like a hospital, it makes me feel old. And I think we just need to break that. We need to be safe in our homes and plan for that. It's nice to be able to be in your own environment. You can tailor it for your needs. Not everybody needs an elevator, for example. They just maybe need a flooring on their stairs that is a little more slip resistant than it used to be. So, thinking of your plans in terms of what are your needs? What do you anticipate your needs to be? And it's also really good for your mental health to be in that familiar surrounding, particularly with people that develop forms of dementia. Putting them into a new situation can be very disconcerting. So being able to stay in your home helps you maintain your independence and autonomy a little bit longer. So what do you need to do? Define your priorities. Again, is your long-term intention to stay in your home? Do you plan to sell the house soon and make it safe now, but maybe not make the huge modifications that would be required for aging in place? What's your health and mobility now? I know I'm certainly not as flexible as I once was, and I anticipate that will probably continue on. So, things that were easy once in our lives, jumping up and down stairs, etc., become a little bit more difficult and will likely become more difficult. And so maybe just being a little realistic about, do I need a first floor bedroom? Do I need a first floor bathroom? And a lot of houses in our area don't have those things, so it's something to plan for. Talk to your doctor if you have some sort of medical condition. What's the prognosis? What's the progression? What things should you be considering to help yourself? Also, your family members. I know for myself, my in-laws very unexpectedly became ill at the same time. They had a 3-story colonial in Burke, and they were never getting old. They were never, ever gonna age. And within a month, they were both completely dependent. We had to find home care, and there was no bathroom on the first floor to wash, there was no bedroom, and it was a scramble, and it was unfun. So I highly recommend talking to whomever is going to potentially help you as you age. What would they need to assist in that process? You obviously need to set aside funds for this. So, it's not free, sadly, and things cost different amounts. There are also, small things that can be done that are going to help now, and you can create a plan longer term rather than, as I said, reacting when it's an emergency. With that, the costs involved, there are small tweaks that can be done, refacing that can be done, additions that can be done. They run the gambit, and so sort of making that plan and planning what the costs are associated with that is helpful before it's an emergency. And if you do decide to stay in situ and not move into an assisted living place, you will have to have some kind of medical care, possibly, maybe on an emergency basis, maybe temporarily, maybe long term, but a lot of places that staff long-term care, in-home caregivers require certain things like a bedroom dedicated only to that caregiver, a bathroom dedicated only to that caregiver. And when you're faced with that, you're like, wow, we got to move all this stuff. We've got to make sure, it's in a private part of the house. It's a lot to consider at a time when you're in crisis to begin with. So it's nice to think about those things ahead of time. Things to ask yourself: do you want to be in a place where there's much more immediate access to medical help? If you fall, do you want somebody to be there that's going to be able to scoop you up really fast, or are you okay being in your own home with the appropriate guardrails, no pun intended, to help you out? Do you like being around other people? For myself, I'm an introvert. Gives me hives thinking about having to live in a communal situation. But for other people, it's a blessing because they're very social, and it gives you the opportunity to be with other people with common interests in a way that you really don't have once you leave school. You're really not in a place where there are a lot of other people of your common age. And then also the financial impact. A retirement community costs money, and a lot of them have a large outlay to begin with. So considering those things, kind of exploring those things, a lot of them have very long waiting lists. That was something that we found out, that it's not as simple as just saying, oh, I need a place, and seeing what the best one is on Yelp. We literally fell into my in-laws' place, but there was a 2 to 5 year waiting list to every place that was halfway decent. So again, it's something to think about now and make the adjustments. So what are the pros of remodeling your home to stay in place? Independence, obviously. We all prefer to row our own boat. We can, again, tailor our improvements to our specific needs. If your eyesight is becoming more impaired, brighter lights or more high contrast surfaces so that you can identify them a little bit easier is something simple to do that helps you maintain your independence. We also very often have very emotional attachments to our homes. It's where your children took their first steps, or your daughter got ready for her wedding. So those things are important, and as I said, when you have people with varying degrees of memory loss and dementia, being in that familiar surrounding can be extremely helpful. And then it can be less expensive to stay and remodel. It just depends on what your plan is and what your needs are. The cons are you're still going to have to mow your grass or hire somebody to mow your grass and clean the gutters and rake the leaves. And for some people, giving that up is really a blessing, so that's something to consider. You also are a little bit more isolated, typically in a home, than you are in a communal living situation. So it can be isolating for people, and that's something to think about as well. Do you have the social support? Do you have friends and family that will come visit you? Are you going to be an island unto yourself? Is that what you want? And then obviously healthcare is a con for staying where you are because you're reliant on 911, on in-home medical care. There's not an immediate solution should some emergency arise. But that is one of the pros of living in a communal place, having staff on site that are there if something happens. And none of us really plan to fall down. It's not really something we choose to do at any part of our lives. So they call it an accident for a reason. And so having somebody there if something like that should happen, and you're not, at the end of your driveway waiting for a neighbor to notice that you're on the ground. It also offers the social engagement, as I said before, that is a little easier in a communal setting. And often a lot of the long-term care places have outings and have, I know the place my in-laws ended up going, they've got a wood shop, they've got a barber, they've got pottery classes. And when we toured it, I was like, can I just move in here? This is awesome. And then the safety and accessibility, that's the other thing, that they are fully equipped to deal with all kinds of different ambulatory needs. Sometimes, it's a walker, you just need to make sure that you've got a door that'll open easily and is wide enough. Sometimes it's a wheelchair. Sometimes it's just having that handrail that goes down every hallway, so in case you're feeling a little woozy, you've got something to grab onto. The cons are the loss of independence and control over your own environment. There are rules and things that other people dictate to you, which isn't always fun. It's expensive. I know that there are big upfront fees, and then there are still fees on a monthly basis. And again, depending on what situation you're in, where you need to be, what facility you find, it varies greatly, but it's worth researching at this point when you can make a choice. It's also really hard to pack up everything, leave everything behind, and move to a new place at a point in your life that maybe isn't ideal to make a change, but it's really nice to think that through and see how you feel about that when you don't have to react. COVID-19 was a really sore spot for a lot of people in care facilities because they were locked down. And there were a lot of people that were very ill, that couldn't see their families, that couldn't have a loved one by their bedside while they were dying. So you have to abide by the rules and regulations that another facility dictates to you. I know where my in-laws are, there were 3 little ladies that decided the cherry blossoms were more important than the rules and broke out and went to see the cherry blossoms and came back with COVID and infected the whole the whole wing. So fortunately, I think everybody survived, but it was an unpleasant situation. They were not rule followers, and it was a big deal. Julia?
Thank you, thank you. Hi, everybody. Didn't Sharon do a great job? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about something that Sharon touched on, which is caregivers in your home. This is something you definitely need to plan for. Maybe you have a space in your home now that could accommodate that, could maybe be changed up a little bit to make that work. Thinking about developing a caregiver space in your home is also an investment in your home versus if you're thinking about whether or not you'd want to go to another communal area, communal property to live versus investing in your home. So what are the benefits of living spaces for caregivers? So improve quality of care for you, for whoever needs the care at home. There's a continuity. You're dealing with a person that you're familiar with in your home. They can kind of watch how you're doing, or whoever is getting care, and maybe pick up on differences if you need a different kind of medical treatment, things like that. It's less disruption in your life. You don't have to necessarily go drive somewhere to an appointment. The caregiver may be able to take care of your routine daily needs. Reduces stress for you and your family. So the caregiver could also be a family member, and I'm going to show you an example of sort of another space that we developed for another family member in the home. So it definitely can reduce a lot of stress just knowing that there's somebody there in the home with you, somebody that knows you, loves you, cares for you, and then enhance comforting convenience for the caregiver themselves. So when that caregiver's there, they need to have if they're staying over, they need a place to sleep, they need a bathroom, they need access to a bathroom, they may need access to a kitchen, things like that. Cost-effective solutions. So as Sharon was talking about, it could be more cost-effective. These are all things that you need to look into and weigh, whether or not it's more cost-effective for you to have an in-home caregiver if you should need one versus, living in another facility. Reduce risk for hospitalization. That's another really important point. So if whoever the person is that's receiving care should start to develop some signs where maybe something more is happening, then the caregiver can pick up on that, and hopefully it can be addressed a lot sooner. So here are some of the elements that we've just talked about: private sleeping area, access to a kitchen or kitchenette. They may need storage room for medical equipment. They do need bathroom access, whether it's private or just another one that could be shared. Emergency access to the person or people that they're helping to take care of, meaning close proximity. And you may want to think about whether or not you need some type of communication system, like an intercom or an alarm buzzer. Like a lot of times in the hospitals, they have little buzzers. So there's different things that you could look at for communication. So I'm going to show you a few examples. This one is a before photo. This is a home that has a split level on one side, and this is the lower level. Part of this space originally had like a family room, and in this instance, the caregiver is one of the daughters. So the daughter is splitting time between her parents' home and her grandparents' home. Her grandmother needs care, so she doesn't actually have a home of her own. She goes and stays at the grandmother's house part-time to help take care of the grandmother, and then her father needed help in her home with her mom. Her mom couldn't basically handle everything that needed to be done, so the daughter went back and forth. And there wasn't really a comfortable place for the daughter in the house, so they decided to develop this sort of little caregiver ensuite for when the daughter was there. And so this is the before space. You can see it's kind of a raw basement. There was a washer and dryer in the space. There was some HVAC utility in this space. So looking at it in the floor plan, this was the existing living room area, and we created a new hallway. This door right here is that door, to give you orientation. So we made a little bedroom space right here for her. And so she has, this would be a requirement as well when you have a bedroom in a basement area or an area that you have to have access to the outside directly in that room. It either needs to be a door or an egress window. So in this case, there's an egress window here, and then we developed a bathroom for her, and this was the utility area that we kept and kind of reorganized so she could get some storage, and also a washer and dryer. So here's a couple views. This is looking in the hallway. That's the bedroom area there. Little stackable washer and dryer, and then into the bathroom. So because she's a family member, she had access to the kitchen. This is the bedroom area. So very, very small, compact space. We just used existing space that the homeowner already had. We didn't have to do an addition to develop this caregiver space. This is another one that is, it's multi-purpose. The before picture is right here, and this is the after picture. So basically this area was added on and redeveloped. And this was actually designed to be an in-law suite, a caregiver suite, or it could be first level bedroom for the homeowner at some point in their life. So what you can see here is where this bay was. We added a new entry door right here onto the patio, which was developed as well. And you come in through this area, so there's now a bedroom, private bedroom, a little seating area with a kitchenette, and then a very nice bathroom over there. So this is the little kitchenette that was developed for this client. And you can see inside, even though there's a beautiful tub in there, there's also a handicapped sort of ADA access shower in here. You can see all the grab bars, seating bench. This is a zero threshold shower, so you can see the drain is in the back. But this allows for all different types of occupation in the space for a caregiver. In-laws could age in place here. The homeowners could also use this as a primary bedroom in the future.
Right, my name is Diane Marciano, and I'll be going over accessory dwelling units. Is anyone familiar with ADUs or ALUs known in Fairfax? No? Okay. Did you know the Virginia Resident Code, VRC, defines an accessory dwelling unit as a separate living unit on a single family dwelling? So what are examples? You can convert your basement into an ADU. You can convert your garage into an ADU. You can do a detached as an ADU, or you can have an attached ADU to your home. What are the requirements? You might ask. Let me go on to the next slide here. So for the purpose of this, each county is different. So for example, Prince William, you cannot have an ADU, okay? Fairfax, they call it an ALU, which is an accessory living unit. And these are the requirements for Fairfax, just to kind of give you an example. There isn't any age or disability requirement that you need to have. You can convert your whole basement into or 800 square feet or 40% from an attachment, whichever is less, and then 1,200 square feet for a detached unit. The limit is 2 bedrooms and 2 people, and then you have to have one additional off-street parking as well, and then you need to have a new entrance to be located on the side or the rear. Other important factors are we have to comply with the VRC, so these are a few things that are listed on here. And then another important thing, and when it's referring the ownership and occupancy, is the owner must reside in either the ADU or the principal dwelling. And then the ADU must be owned by the same individual who owns the main residence. You do have to have a fire alarm system and then interconnected alarms with the principal dwelling as well. So I'm going to give you some examples here. Okay, so this particular one, the husband has Alzheimer's and needs a caregiver 24/7. Okay, so in this particular case, they took part of the basement to be able to give a bedroom, an area for the caregiver. And so when we were talking about an egress window, an example of that is this one here. So the window needs to be 44 inches, no more than 44 inches off the ground, and then you're able to open and be able to get out from that in case there's an emergency. So we were able to add that to the bedroom here because there was no way to exit. That part was underground. And we did a kitchenette. So that kitchenette right over on this side, we were able to do like a 2-cook electric burner, dishwasher, sink, and microwave for the caregiver, and then a bathroom as well. Have a nice shower in there for her. Didn't finish the whole basement, but just part of it, just enough for her to feel comfortable there while she's there 24/7. Okay. Another example here, so just thinking ahead and planning in the future, the father in this house wanted to give the home to the son when he was no longer there. So wanted to kind of help him out and think of ways to be able to potentially rent the basement in the future. So in the meanwhile, the son will live in the basement, and then when his father is no longer there, he would move up to the main level and then be able to rent the basement and be able to have rent it out and get an extra income coming in. So for here, again, with the bedroom, I'll show you over on this side. This is the bedroom, and again, we needed to add that egress window out there. And we have the kitchenette, you know, over more like a full-on kitchen over on this side here. We were even able to do a dining area as well, and then a full-on bathroom for this client here.
So what was the approximate cost of some of these projects?
So for this particular one, with being a full-on kitchen, egress window, flooring, the basement was unfinished, so everything got completed, was starting around $200K for this project.
And the time it took?
It varies. For this particular one, I want to say it was 4 months? 4 months? Okay. All right, so 4 months for this one. And then this was their access to the out. Remember, it could be in the rear or the side of the home. Okay, so this one here is a detached ADU. So this particular one, the client purchased the home and it had this unit in the back already. So this was a little bit of the client going and talking to the county and figuring out if this could be grandfathered in. And they did accept to do that. But something to keep in mind is that with this particular unit, you notice where the fence is at, you're pretty much right on the edge of your property. And typically when you have your plat, you have certain setbacks that are required that you have to be within. So this is technically not allowed, but because it was already there, the county did approve that we could utilize this space. So what we ended up proposing, essentially they wanted a space to be able to have family members stay whenever they came throughout the year, and give them just their own private space. So they had a bedroom still, and in this case it's not underground, so they just had a door that could just be to the outside. And they have a nice sized kitchen which worked for the space and allowing multiple people to be there. And then you have your bathroom. So let me show you some renderings. This is the living, dining, and this is a full-on size kitchen for this particular one.
Why are modifications important? So, as we're aging, first of all, it's not just about aging, it's about being prepared. Say if you have an accident or an illness and thinking about what you need when something like that occurs, or if it happens to a family member, so that you're not in an emergency kind of a panic situation. So it's about planning. So if you have someone who maybe has a disability, or some health conditions are coming up, or just wanting to be safe in your home for the future. That's part about, the feeling of independence as well. Conducting a home modification may eliminate the need for paid long-term residential care or care services. So we talked about this. So thinking about, do you want to remain in your home? Are you thinking about maybe you would want to go into another living facility with more communal opportunities? But I think most people really want to be home. So we're going to talk about things that you can do in your home and think about it to make it safer. Another thing that we've talked a little bit about was these caregiver spaces or primary bedroom on the first floor for sort of aging in place. This is an investment in your home versus going to another property and spending money to live there. That addition would be obviously an asset to you. So let's take a look over here. We'll go a little bit through this checklist. There's so many more things that you could think about, but here's just a few things on a checklist that you can do. You can walk through your home and think about each space in your home. So on the exterior, your walkways, are they safe? If you have concrete or brick or something, are there any trip hazards, things that you might want to think about getting repaired? Do you have railings around the steps so that when you're stepping up or stepping down, you have something to hold on to? Lighting is also very important on walkways or at entries to the home. Living areas, so just a couple little simple things like you want to think about as you walk through your home, are there any hazards for tripping? If you have area rugs down, you might want to think about, is there something under the rug that keeps it from slipping? Charging stations. In case of an emergency, a lot of people will maybe have their phone next to their bed and have a place to charge it. But just different places in the home where you may need access to your phone or some emergency, just making sure that there's something there that you can charge and your phone is ready if you have an emergency. Stairways, if they're not carpeted and they're wood stairs, you might want to think about like a no-slip tread on top of the staircase, on top of the treads. Illuminating hallways and walkways. They make great options today for outlet covers on the wall that have little lights in them that are sensitive to, when it gets dark, the light will come on, so it's kind of low light. A lot of hospitals actually use them now in the room, so there'll be some low light in the room so that when you get up and your eyes haven't adjusted yet, say you're getting up to go to the restroom or something, that you have some low light. It's not going to hurt your eyes and you can see where you're walking. Again, talking about walkways in the house, we've looked a lot of examples about railings, things like that. If you have steps in your home, there's different things that you can do. You have a transition in the material. This talks about putting a tape or something like that near a tread, but that's more residential, more commercial. Thinking about bedroom space, again, thinking about just evaluating the space around where you're going to walk and travel, keeping clutter-free so that if you're getting up in the middle of the night that you're not going to trip on anything. It could be more restful with less clutter, things like that. Make sure your bed is easy to get in and out of. The height of the bed, if you're shorter or taller, where is the height of your bed? Some people also need things to grip onto to get out of the bed. There's lots of options for things like that as well. Kitchen, making sure that all your appliances are working. There's also options for if there is a handicap and the cooking surface needs to be lowered, there are options that are mechanisms for just the cooking surface to be raised up and down. You'll see this with a lot of war veterans who are living in a wheelchair, things like that. So there are options. There's lots of options that we can go over with you depending on your needs. Bathrooms, so we've looked at a lot of photos. We're going to see some more about grab bars, the right type of grab bars. They don't have to feel institutional anymore. There's lots of great options for nice design on bars that you can have near the toilet or inside of the shower and things like that, walking down a hallway, things like that. I think Mavis, you mentioned this, a non-slip mat in your tub or your shower, things like that. So when we design, we're actually going to design the space so that there are materials on the floor that are not going to be slippery. We're not going to put any polished porcelain on your floor. We're going to use something that's going to be better for you to walk on if it gets wet. But if you have an existing space, you could look at something that, maybe a mat that you could put inside your shower, your tub, so that you wouldn't slip inside there. One of the things we'll talk about here is a little myth. Most older adults living in nursing home, the population is really only about 5% that go to a nursing home. So I think the topics that we're talking about are really important today, because it's about living inside your home, or if you're thinking about buying a future home, the things that you should be thinking about. So remodeling solutions. So we're just going to kind of walk through some of the things, little touch points some of the things we've already talked about. Curbless showers, or also referred to as zero threshold, and there'll be some photos coming up of that. Those are the type where the tile in the bathroom is level to the shower, so you could walk right in without stepping over, the shower curb. So there are different considerations in installing those, but in most cases that can be done. Lowered countertops, one thing that we just talked about. If you're in a wheelchair, things like that, we can automate some countertops to be lowered. Stair lifts. So here's an example of a stair lift. This one is outside. You can also have them in your home. There's many different ways you can think about getting up and down. We also install residential elevators. So over here we have, there's a lot involved in installing an elevator, but we've done many of them. So we can help work through that. Sometimes they can be built inside of an existing space in your home, and sometimes we have to build a little addition for it. Depends on what makes the most sense. Smooth transition between rooms, avoiding thresholds, tripping hazards, things like that. So let's see what else we have. Super pole right here. This is next to a bed. So this allows somebody to get in and out of the bed a little bit easier. This is zero threshold, and also there's a grab bar inside of the shower. This is referred to as a mini ramp, but in the case, if you have a couple stairs in your home, we could also develop a little, if it makes more sense to do a little ramp inside your home, so you can get up and down where that is. And this is also an external ramp right here, and we'll show you an example of one of those. And this is a vertical lift outside the home, which we'll also show you an example of. Okay, so we're just going to go through some of the solutions and finishes for inside. These are different types of grab bars. Sometimes this is a good solution depending on the application. A typical grab bar, this is one that can go around the control, like the diverter where you turn the water off and on. So you have a little grab bar right around that inside the shower. This is sort of an option to see that not all grab bars look institutional. That's a nice design by Kohler, and they have a little teak shelf that can go on it. And also shower heads that are adjustable on slide bars. And these bars can also act as grab bars as well. Having a handheld, I think, is really important, because if you end up having to sit down in the shower, you can lift that up and sort of use it as a hand shower. Toilet heights. Some people have thought about it, some people have not. But here's all the different sizes right here. This is typically what we specify now, which we call comfort height, ADA. If you're extremely tall, you have those nice long legs, you might want something like this. But you can see there's many options. A lot of the older homes, you might find a toilet that's lower. And as we age, it's better to have a comfort height toilet. It's a little bit easier to get up and get down. Talk about some flooring options. So thinking about maintenance and wearability, cleanability, they make great products today that are LVP or vinyl flooring. They're water resistant, slip resistant, pet resistant. They're also maybe a little more comfortable under your feet versus a tile floor. You could also think about cork flooring. It's nice and warm and comfortable. Bamboo flooring, also very eco-friendly. And this is carpeting, but it's a low-level pile. So it's a little bit easier, less tripping hazard. Lighting. These are different temperatures of light right here. So you can see that this is a very cool white light, almost like a fluorescent light. So you want to think about what type of lighting you want in your home, where you want it. how it impacts your vision, how it illuminates the space. Most everything we do today is LED lighting, so that it actually, the lighting that we use, there's a little mechanism inside the fixture that we can turn to different temperatures of light and set it at the light that you'd like to have it at. But it's also very economical, it doesn't use a lot of energy, and they last a really long time, so you won't have to worry about changing light bulbs all the time. This is an example of the night light right here, and there's many different companies that make them. Some of them you can put them on a timer as well, or a motion sensor, so that when you walk in the room, it will come on for you. And then dimmer switches. This is a new code coming out next year. So in most spaces, not every space in your home, we're now going to be required to use dimmer switches. And I think that's more of a energy efficiency thing that the county is enforcing. Elevators, so we talked a little bit about that. You know, they're not inexpensive, but there is a range for what you can do. And you know, if you're thinking about the options of whether or not it's a good investment for you to be able to stay in your home, it might be worthwhile considering it. If we're working with you, we would look at the property and talk about where you needed it and what would make the most sense, whether it could be internal or if we'd build it outside. When we put an elevator inside, there's some structural things that we have to consider. Power supply, electrical requirements, energy efficiency, design aesthetics. So this looks very nice. It has a beautiful door on it. There's certain types of doors that have to go on elevators as well, and there's certain precautions so that when you're operating the elevator, this door will not be able to be opened. These are a couple of examples of renovations that we've done recently for accessible bathrooms. This particular one, don't quite see it, but there was an angled wall here which allowed a 5-foot radius turn here, which is a requirement if you're in a wheelchair to be able to have a 5-foot radius turn. Zero threshold, you can see it slopes away to a drain that's on this side of the wall. We don't actually see it in this photo, but there's a bench seat in here. Lots of options for showering handheld. You can see the toilet is an ADA toilet with a grab bar on the side. This one here, this is sort of a partial wet room over here. There's no glass inside this shower. It's sort of a open walk-in. You can sit here and shower. You can stand and shower. And this toilet happens to be mounted on the wall, very European style, with the grab bar right here. A few more examples. Here's another bathroom with a zero threshold. The drain is in the back over here. It's a built-in bench seat. This one has glass sliding doors right here. Also zero threshold. And this is another one where the tile went, you know, the same tile straight into the shower. These are all great for accessibility. And then we talked about ramps. So this is a project that Kara worked on where this garage was converted to a living space for a husband and wife. The wife had an injury and she needed better access to the home. So this ramp was built and this area was converted for her care. This is also where it's not always like the easiest or best solution. We have to kind of look at everything and see what works best for you. But in this case, it made more sense to do a lift on the outside so they could get up to the deck and into the main level of the house. This is a first floor primary bathroom. This could also be an aging in place situation. So you come in over here and this is basically a suite area right here, the bedroom, nice closet area, and then this is the bathroom here. So this is the image that you're looking at. You're walking in, zero threshold. They have a shower curtain here that separates the space, but you can see there's also, this is a great idea to do a small vertical grab bar here, so as you're stepping in, even though there's no threshold, there's something to hold on to and balance yourself. Grab bar over here as well. And then we have grab bars around the toilet for different types of gripping. All right, and then we're going to talk about the 8-step process next. And Kara?
Hello, I'm Kara. I will be talking to you about the steps 1 through 4 of our 8-step process. So as we talked about, we're going to need, once you book an appointment, we're going to ask for a few things for you. One of them specifically is going to be your plat. So when you are looking at maybe adding an ADU, or you want to expand in-law suite, or maybe a caregiver suite, onto your home, we want to research and see what our restrictions are with the county. So every county is a little bit different. So we would look at that information first and see what your setbacks are. If you're in Arlington or Alexandria City, they have a little bit more detail that we need to follow with the floor area ratio. So our goal is we're going to sit down with our draftsman team and we're going to calculate what can we add on to if you are in Arlington or Alexandria City. There is a certain square footage that you can cover of your lot. So we want to make sure we're prepared that maybe we need to tweak something based on what you're looking for while we're out there. And then again, we talked about homeowners association too. So we work with them all the time. Like Julia said, if we're in design, we'll prepare a packet for you to submit to your homeowners association. So that's something we would help with you and make sure we're selecting everything that's required with that. So our initial consultation, so we come out, our goal when we come out is to really find your goals of your project. So when we come out there, we're going to take pictures, we're going to take lots of measurements, we're going to have you walk us through your space and everything that's going to be impacted. So if you're looking at a whole kitchen or different rooms, or our goal is to find the structural component of what's going to cost for this project, what's going to be impacted different rooms that might be next to it, adjacent, that we need to paint or fix up a trip based on the other project. So we really want to capture everything in our initial visit, so that way when you come back we can give you a realistic budget range that we should be working within. We're going to take lots of pictures together, and then we're going to ask you about your finishes that you're thinking of, your design style. Do you want that curbless shower? Do you want heated floors? Do you want to walk into the room and have the lights come on? Those specific details that you're looking for, we want to capture that in that budget. So we will take all of that information and we'll invite you back to our showroom. We'll do a tour. So we'll make an appointment at that initial consultation to come here. We'll do a tour. We'll have a whole presentation for you of what our proposed design ideas. So here you can kind of see we're talking to different clients that we came in here. We're going to show you the fixtures and finishes that are in our showroom that will be included within your budget. We will also work together with our draftsman team putting up a proposed idea. It's a starting point for this. It's just an idea of what we came up with initially, but you'll have renderings to see our ideas together. You'll have an existing your existing plan put together, and then we'll have a proposed, and then we'll put everything on a nice big TV just kind of like this, and then you'll see exactly what we're thinking of. And along with this, we'll also have a budget range that we'll talk about. We'll put together for you based on everything we talked about at the initial consultation, as well as the finishes and fixtures that you were kind of specifying during our discussion. As well as this, we'll have a design agreement together. So this is just saying that you think we're a good fit. Now we want to start designing this. So you're only committed to the design components of this. So with the budget range, what we do is put together a 10% swing, because we haven't really specified exactly what we're selecting or what you have selected out into this. We're kind of giving an idea. So to cover us, or maybe to cover any unknowns, we do like a 10% swing. So it gives us a working budget range. But once we go through design, it would be a fixed budget at that point, because we then have selected everything out together. So for this one, we looked at a kitchen. This would be the budget range. And then to decide to actually start designing this project, we would require a design retainer of that amount. Now, if you do move forward in constructing this project, then you see a credit on your contract for that amount on there. So once we decided we do want to go forward into designing, our goal is to capture the entire cost of the project. So we'll have our teams come out. So you'll see our draftman. Actually, that's Bill, our estimator there. He's trying to figure out, the foundation. Our goal is to capture all of the cost of your project in the design phase. So we will poke and pry, see if there's any plumbing or wires behind a wall we're removing, or maybe structurally we need to have do something differently constructually to make sure that we have everything covered and captured. within that. If your home is older than 1978, then we're going to have test your trim work for lead, and then that way we can cover that during our construction so our teams are safe. So if you're looking for addition, here you can see they're kind of doing the grading of the land. So they'll come out and just see if we get the actual grading of your land correct as well. And then if we need to involve any tradesmen, we'll like HVAC or come out there too. That's all done in the design phase together. So we do all of our planning in this phase so that we have a fixed budget and there shouldn't be any surprises while we're in construction together. The other part of the design, so once they've come back from the measurement, they'll put together initial contract drawings, but then we'll also start the selections. So the selections are typically done in our showroom here. We have a variety of selections from our cabinetry, tile, plumbing. There's a lot to be selected out, even like your outlets, what's the style of outlets you have. Do you want a certain color on them? The lights. There's a lot of detailing. We want to make sure we have the details all specified so that way it doesn't slow us in the construction process. So we have everything planned out. But there's a lot here. You can see everything together from your cabinetry to your tile to your countertops, how everything coordinates nicely. We can bring samples to your home, but also you're not limited to what we show here either. We have great relationships with different vendors that we can bring other samples here. So if you don't absolutely love something in here, we'll go find something that's more suitable for you. And these will be the set of initial contract drawings that you'll be going over during the first selection visit too. So you can see we'll start with the demo plans. You'll have nice demo notes here exactly telling you what we'll be doing in that phase. Everything will be listed here and we'll go through these each time to make sure we capture everything correctly. And then you'll see different plans like your revise. This is what we're initially thinking here. And then our roof structure, we'll put lines in here so you can kind of see how those are playing out. But again, this is always a refinement. We can keep working on this. So if you're like, I don't like this here, let's switch this. That's exactly what this phase is for. Our goal is to fix it here so that way we don't need to fix it in the field, which can be a little bit more costly. And then you'll see elevations. You can see how the porch here, the roof line structure is looking, and then we'll give you renderings to help support that too, so you can really visualize how this space is going to come together. Each time we make selection options, we update the selections, so you can see how that new tile looks with the flooring that you picked out. For kitchens, you see elevations. We'll go cabinet by cabinet and specify how do you want that cabinet to function. What's more suitable for you? Do you want roll-out shelves? Do you want certain accessories? What makes the kitchen more functional for you, or the bathroom, or whatever space you're looking at? But this is each detail you can see from the elevations on there that we will work out each time when we talk together. So if you see any changes, you want an outlet here, do you want something different? Those will keep mocking up for you and switching. And then we'll talk about your electrical plan. So how do you want your switch? Where do you want to enter the room? Do you have your switch on here with the dimmer, or do you want it in a different location? So those are the details we want to iron out first. And then we'll go into more of the engineer construction plans. So you can see how we're kind of building everything into. So once we made all of our changes and we finalize all our selections, what we're going to do is have everything, we put it in a nice binder together and we hand it over to our estimator. So he's going to get pricing for us on everything that we have selected out and everything the cost of with the construction component. And then we have our production manager review your project. So when we get together your final contract, everything will be exactly specified how we're going to build this, what materials we're going to use, and then what finishes, like from your exact faucet you picked out with us, to the color, finish, everything will be detailed out onto your contract here that we will review with you and sign and go over. So on here, you'll see like the total amount here. You'll have your total amount of the project will be listed here. It's a little bit bigger. You'll see your deposit credit. So that will be on here too. For the design credits, I'm sorry. And then you'll deposit to move forward in construction, which is 20% of the total cost is what we would need to start constructing this. But then you would have a payment schedule over here. So every major milestone within the project, we'll attach a payment to it. So like start a demo, you have a payment there, or start a drywall, but you'll know exactly when everything will be due there. Most of them are going to be majority same payment, we just split up, and then the final two are just a little bit less, and those are for like final inspection and owner's punch out list too. Also on your contract is going to be your start and end dates for construction. So we do all of this planning beforehand so that we can give you an exact start date and an end date, which we do a really great job adhering to it, because there shouldn't be any hiccups while we're in construction together, since we already planned everything out. And I'm going to give this to Chris, and he's going to talk to you about 5 through 7 steps. There you go.
What happens here? So you've gone through the design process, you've signed your contract, and in the contract we put a start date. So what happens in that time frame from when you sign the contract and we actually start construction? So a lot of things happen. So with us, we are a design build company, so we design the project, we specify everything. We also pull all the permits, and we do 80% of the work with our own in-house people. But during that time frame from when the contract's signed and we start, we are doing a lot of behind the scenes things. So we are creating a job schedule. So we have a start date and an end date, but we're putting together a job schedule that we'll present to you. We're also ordering all of the materials up front. Like David said, we have all the space in a warehouse, so we pre-order all the materials that we can, and we stage them here in the office. We're also obtaining all of the building permits. So since COVID, we used to be able to walk into the county, walk into a building, get a permit in a day. Now everything has to be uploaded. We work with 5 or 6 different jurisdictions, and each one has their own separate online permitting process. So what we've gone from 1 day to 2 weeks is now 1 month minimum, and could be even longer. So what we do is once we sign that contract, we start submitting for permits, ordering materials, doing all of that. So behind the scenes, you can see this is our job board. These are our next available start dates. But also before we start, we are going to schedule what's called a pre-construction meeting. So this meeting is when you are introduced to the design team. So what happens is the designer, whoever you worked with, she's going to bring out the project manager and also the lead carpenter who's assigned to your project. And that's kind of the formal handoff where you get to meet your construction crew. And this usually takes place around 2 weeks prior to construction. And at that pre-construction meeting, here's where we go through all the logistics. So the main thing is the contract document. So we are going to fulfill everything that's in that contract. But also during the pre-construction meeting, we're going to talk about all the logistics. So one of the first things we do is when we go out there, the designer is going to kind of walk through the production team and just go over the scope of work. We're going to point out some important things like where's the water shut off? Where's the electric panel? And they're going to walk through and just review the project. The production team, they are given a binder full of all of the details, a complete set of working drawings, all of your material selections. So they have all of that, at their hands. So one of the things they're going to do is they're going to present you a job schedule at that pre-construction meeting. So they're going to put together a calendar, and on that calendar you're going to see what trades and what phases of construction are going to happen at what time. And where that's important too is in the contract we have a draw schedule or payments that are tied to certain construction milestones. So you'll be able to look at that work calendar, and you'll be able to gauge when draws or payments are due. So we're going to talk about a lot of things like the production schedule. So our guys work 7 to 3:30 every day. We'll talk about where can we park. We'll set up. Do you have any pets? Or how do we treat the pets? Do you have runners, or do they like to kind of hang around? So also we'll talk about how are we going to access the home. Some people are home all the time, other people work during the day. So we have a lockbox to gain access to the house. So we'll go through all of those things. We have our own dumpsters. So I guess we're over them just in time. So there may be some areas where we need to temporarily stage things, but really we're bringing things out from the warehouse when it's time to be installed. So again, we're trying to limit disruption during construction. So we will also talk about change orders. So as David was talking, there's two avenues for change orders. For small things or things we encounter during construction, there's the time and material change order. But if there's anything that's more major, then we will do a written change order. We'll go through their selections, but the change order that's created by design will be a fixed price change order. And again, you get copies of everything that you would sign off on. Also, what we'll do is we'll discuss how do we close out a project on that pre-construction meeting. So what happens is we're going through, we get the inspections, and we have a form. It's a final punch list form. So it's a 3-part carbon copy. So the carpenter, he will leave that with you and maybe give you the weekend to go through, and that's your chance to go through the entire project and highlight any items that need to be completed for us to consider the project complete. One of the benefits of having our own lead carpenters out there all the time is you should have discussions all the time. So there shouldn't be surprises on that punch list form. There's going to be that communication, and you'll have a good sense of what needs to be completed. So here, once we've talked to you about it, we've had the pre-construction meeting, and construction is actually going to start. So here at Foster Remodeling, we have a pretty big production team. So we have lead carpenters, and our lead carpenters, they're master carpenters, but what they're doing is they're providing the labor on the project, and they're also managing the project while they're out there. And they do also have carpenters who assist them as well. But basically the lead carpenter, he's kind of a working superintendent. He's managing the day-to-day operations out there on the job. And the production management team is back in the office providing support and giving them everything they need. We also have our own in-house electrical team. So we do have a master electrician and a journeyman electrician. So we do all the electrical work in-house. All of our employees, they're background checked, they're drug tested, they have clean driving records. So we want to make sure whoever's in your home is trustworthy, and it's really for your safety.
How long have most of your employees been with your company?
We've had a few where Mike, 28 years. Bill just had 15 years. John, what's he at, 12 now? Yep. So, but we have a mix. What we're finding is most experienced lead carpenters, there's not many of them out there who are under 50 years old. It's just a challenge we're facing as an industry. So we're really trying to develop in-house future lead carpenters. Also, while we're working on your home, we're really trying to protect the home. So what we do is we have a site protection protocol that we go through. But construction, anytime there's a renovation, there's going to be some inconvenience. But we're really trying to limit the amount of inconvenience you have. And we spend a lot of time setting up protection. So what we do, here's Mario, he's putting in a zip wall. So he's putting up a plastic containment where you can actually walk in and out of the room. Here he's putting carpet protection down so that we can protect your carpet. Here you can see there's hardwood floor. We'll put down a ram board to protect the hardwood floor, covering everything up with plastic. This project was a second-story addition, so as we're taking off the roof of your home, we're covering it with tarps and really protecting everything. And another thing we do is really dust protection. So while we're out there, we're going to get filter material, and we're going to cover the return air duct. So any duct or dust work that we do generate, it's going to be trapped before it goes into the system and blows throughout the rest of the house. So now we're all finished, and then David's going to talk about the next phase.
When we get to step 8 is, for me, one of the final and most satisfying steps. On every design build project, so in every larger project where you've worked with a designer, we've gone through the construction process, I will come out to your home with a designer. And on that step, what we're looking for is I'm going to bring with me your warranty binder that's going to have all the information related to your project, care instructions, copies of every contract, every document that you've signed, the permit inspection record showing that they're finalized, pretty much everything related to your project. Everything you would have signed with originally with a designer up front will be there, all together in one binder, so it's a go-to place for anything that we've done for that project. And we just love it when the client has like a whole bookshelf full of these things, because we have some that have quite a few. But But anyways, I do come out to the home. We walk through the home. I'm looking for it for quality, kind of checking it for quality. I'll check things for look for leaks and things like that. Open cabinets, run faucets. Looking for anything I see that's not finished the way it should be. What happens is we create what we call our quality assurance final walkthrough punch list. This is after the job is done, after you've already signed off on the project with a lead carpenter. He will have done a punch list with you. You will have completed that. You have made your final payment. But even after all of that's done, I still come out. We don't consider the project finished till I've come out and put my eyes on it and taken a look at the project. Walk through it with you. You'll now have had some time to live in it, 2, 3, 4 weeks maybe after the project's completed, depending on the size of it. Sometimes some little things pop up that you start living in it, moving stuff into it. Little things come up that you might have noticed. Any of those things that you may have found, we'll jot down on this list. Any of the things that I find, I will jot down on the list. And then what happens is after we're done with this walkthrough, we'll send the lead carpenter back out to take care of any of these items that need to be done. We ask you to, he'll initial off that he's completed them. He'll ask you to initial off that you're satisfied with the way he repaired those things. And then at the end of that the job would be kind of officially closed and done in my eyes. Those walkthroughs are also an opportunity for us. We'll take a couple pictures. We'll talk to you a little bit about the process, how it worked for you, what could we have done better, did everything go as you expected? Because I want to know that so I can continue to tweak my process. If there's something that's not working well, I want to know about it. We'll also, again, go through your warranty binder, sort of page by page of all the products that were used, the care and maintenance instructions for those products, all the manufacturer's warranties that go with those, a copy of our warranty. I'll have a release, a lien in there that's signed off saying that we've certifying that we've paid everybody related to your project, so you don't have to worry about a lien being filed for a non-payment against your property. We're going to have in there pretty much everything related to your job. Sometimes there's a little set keys and things like that to take the aerators out of the faucets or to tighten up the handles on the faucets. Those will be in there in a little envelope for you so that everything's in one place. And we'll leave that with you so you have it as a reference, should you ever need to know. Even things like paint colors. What paint color did I paint that room? You'll be able to go look and see, oh, it was Benjamin Moore, whatever the color might be if you want to use it somewhere else in your house. So that binder is provided to you at the end of the project. Maria, once the carpenters are done, whether you realize or not along the way, when they open up a box and there's an instruction manual in there, they're throwing it into these little boxes we have for them, container, and they bring it all back, and Maria is the one that kind of assembles that whole binder for you. Also, we will register any of the products that need to be registered for you with the manufacturers. We will register them for you so that the registration and location of ownership is documented with the company that provides them. So that you don't have to worry about that also. So that's all done as part of the walkthrough. For me, it's a great chance to kind of see how our staff is doing. I take a few pictures while I'm there. We also ask, when the job is done, we have a third-party company that sends a survey out to you called Guild Quality. That we have to send that to every design build project that we do. And ask for your feedback. So when that feedback comes back to us, the pictures of your jobs that I've taken when I'm there, what we'll do is put those up in our company meetings along with your feedback. It gives the carpenters a chance to see what each other are working on. It also gets them to see the feedback that we're getting from the clients, and I kind of also use it for quality control because they all know their stuff's going to get put up here and nobody wants to see something bad. So they all know I'm going to check behind them. The most important thing is they know that somebody's checking behind them, and we care about what we're delivering you as an end product. So it has an amazing effect to me on watching the quality all go up, knowing that that's going to be displayed in front of their peers with the comments and pictures of their projects. And they all really want to step up their game and make sure there's only good comments, up there. And if there's not for some reason, we will talk about those. But it's amazing the feedback that we get. I mean, it really is good. I mean, Guild Quality has had a 600 and some responses. All of our stuff are in the 90-something percentile for it. So it's in your stuff. But before I click past that, one of the other things that we do with a warranty is once you're a design build client, once we've done a larger project for you, we also do offer handyman services. At this point in the history of the company, we only do handyman services for people we've done a larger scale project for. There's a big demand for that, for people that do it well and do it right, that we've just limited it to clients that we've done larger projects for. If somebody called us off the street that we hadn't done a larger project for and said, hey, do you do handyman services? We'd say no, we don't do that. But we save that to really keep for our past clients. We have a lot of clients that just want us to come out and do little things. They've got rotten trim, they've got a light bulb they need changed that's really high, or they have some caulking that needs to be done, or whatever. A bunch of little things that they don't really have anybody reliable to call on. So we want to be that reliable person for them. And again, we look at a client for life. We want to do more projects for you. We want to be your go-to when you have things that need to be done in your home. So we're there for you for that too.
David,
Yes.
is Ramiro your only handyman, or do you have several?
Ramiro's our main handyman. We do have a couple of the other guys who have been handyman in the past that when we get busier with them, we can pull them in to help with that too. But Ramiro's our main person. It's not really intended to be like an emergency service kind of thing. It's more stuff that you can schedule out. Our warranty also is on all of our design build projects is 5 years. So we do put a 5-year warranty on all the work that we do. So if there's any issues or problems with any of the work that we've done, call us up, let us know. There's 3 different ways to contact us for warranty. We have a place on our website underneath the resource tab where you can submit a warranty claim through there. You can always call our main office number, or you can send an email to warranty@fosterremodeling.com. That'll come to us, come into the system. Maria handles the scheduling of all that. She'll reach out to you and schedule a time to get out there to take care of anything that may have come up. So we want to be here for you for the servicing what we've built for you also. And we put a 5-year warranty on our product because we like to do things right. When we do a kitchen remodel, we don't do say a pull and replace or a bathroom pull and replace. We take it down to the studs so we can see exactly what we're working with and take care of anything that might be hidden behind the walls, make sure everything's brought up to code, and use good, decent quality materials so that we know that we can put that 5-year warranty on it and stand behind it for you. So that's all, again, part of what we offer. This is an example of guild quality, and at this particular time when this slide is taken, you can go online and see the current one as of today, but there were 605 customers surveyed, 473 responses, and you can see the scores that we get in the different categories there.
And that's a public website.
Yeah, it's a public website you can go to at Guild Quality, and every year they compare us to our competitors, and the top people that are in the top percentiles get what they call the Guildmaster Award for customer service, and we've achieved that every single year that we've been in that, and we've been in that for 10 years now or so. Yeah, 10 or 12 years. Yeah, probably some of these go back to. When do they go back to? I don't know. There's 2019 and beyond, 2018, 2016. So yeah, it's a long time. But we do very well with the feedback, and we want honest feedback. That's how we grow. That's how we know what we're doing well, what we need to work on. So that's important to us. We can't make people fill them out, but we strongly encourage them to, and we have to return a 75% rate in order to continue to be part of the Guild Quality program. With that said, I'm going to hand it over to Teresa here for a second.
Most of you guys know me. I've spoken to almost all of you. And this is the last bit, so I'm going to let you guys go. But basically, one of the many hats I wear here, I do a lot of the recruiting for the employees. So I was part of that whole background check stuff for everyone who comes in. I also am the office manager, and one of my favorite things about my mini hats is this part, the phone consultation. And this is where I urge you guys, if you haven't already spoken to me, is to schedule that phone consultation. Usually if you submit like an online request for an appointment, I'll reach out to you and say, hey, here's a button to click to schedule a call with me. We'll spend about 15-20 minutes talking about, well, mainly for me to get an understanding of what you guys have in mind. And then I'll explain our process, timeline, estimates, mainly to see if we're a good fit for what you guys are looking for. And then at that point, if you're like, yeah, that sounds great, I'll schedule a designer to come see you, and then we start this whole process you've just listened to. And I got a great gift this year. You can now schedule with me online. I'm so excited. We have a new scheduling system. And so you can go on there and schedule with me for 15, 20 minutes, and we can talk about your project and move forward. And a lot of people like that because I can answer questions you might have about your particular project, how our designers handle those things. So plus I just like to hear what you guys are thinking about. It's fun. But yeah, so you can go online. That's my favorite. Schedule a call because I also answer every line coming in here. So I can be hard to be reached on the phone sometimes. So schedule a call. You can call, but like I said, this is good. And you can submit a request online up here, we'll be happy to sit and talk to you more and see if this works for you. Another hat I do is, I think David touched this, we call them temp checks. So once your project starts, I'm going to reach out to you. Let's say your project is 3 months long. I'm going to reach out to you each month and say, hey, how's it going? Because they look at me as a neutral person in this whole thing. I'm not in your house with a hammer. I didn't design it. So you can talk to me, and I'll share whatever we need to do or improve or what you like. And we review that at our company meetings with our employees, and we learn a lot. So again, designers, please come out. Thank you so much for your time. Please get some food.